So on these headlines about the abandoning of 2020 targets, the cutting of about 900 jobs, there are indications on TradeGate that the shares could open lower in about 40 minutes. What can you say to reassure investors?
Well, good morning. Thank you very much for having me. First of all, I can say that we met and achieved our targets for 2018. That should give investors assurance that we are delivering what we promised: 3.9% growth, 9.7% margin, and 384 million free cash flow. That's more than what we promised. So I think that's on the positive side. On the negative, that's the group level. We not achieved the auto targets due to the situation in Europe and also the situation in China. But on the contrary, the industrial division overachieved what we promised. 11% margin is 3 percentage points more than in 2017. And that shows that we are well positioned if we put in efficiency initiatives to stabilize the margin. And that's what we want to do now next in the auto side. That's why we announced this morning the program RACE. RACE is a program that targets efficiency and portfolio optimization on the automotive side. And yes, it comes together with some measures on the efficiency side. We will look at the European plant network to consolidate plants there, to reduce the operating leverage. And certainly there will also be some headcount reduction. On the other hand, RACE is not only an efficiency program on the cost side, it's very much a portfolio program where we want to also pave the way forward in e-mobility, in hybridization. And that's why we have announced that in the next years, we want to improve our order intake quite dramatically in these areas.
Yes.
So I'm optimistic for what we plan for the next years.
Klaus, so I understand what you're saying then, that actually the industrial division overachieved. So most of the concerns coming through on the auto market side of things, you've outlined the steps that you're taking to try and offset that. My question to you is, do you see further deterioration in the auto market? And if so, will the steps that you're outlining be enough to offset that?
Well, the auto environment will remain turbulent. We are cautious with our outlook, and we see that there's low visibility. That's also the reason why we said we're going to skip the 2020 targets. We will, in the year 2020, address this again and come back when we have revisited all the long-term plans. You also saw that we announced a change in our team. So yes, we are preparing for a difficult environment, and the measures that we just mentioned, or that I just mentioned, will certainly be only the first phase. The program RACE is a more long-term program with 3 different phases. The first phase is now targeted to achieve a 90 million profitability improvement. That's 100 basis points in terms of the margin. It's the first step, and as we have shown on the industrial side, as soon as we need more, we'll put in another phase.
Yes, and of course, looming over all this as well, the discussions between the US and EU in terms of auto tariffs. How does that factor into your preparations as well?
Well, that's part of the more difficult to judge environment. We are preparing for these discussions by further localization. We hope that these discussions will come to a positive result. That's also why I said we need to be careful with the environment. It's difficult to read. Visibility is low, and you certainly need to be flexible in your response.
Klaus, visibility might arguably also be low when it comes to Brexit. So in terms of your preparations there, have original equipment manufacturers been asking you for extra parts to prepare for Brexit?
Well, we were one of the first companies that said we'll take action in the UK. Sadly enough, we have decided to reduce our plant network there quite dramatically, and also bring jobs back to Germany. On the other hand, we have a task force in place since many months that is preparing as good as we can for what's happening end of the March. We hope that these will unfold in a way that it's positive for everybody, or as positive as possible. But it's clearly an uncertainty that we need to deal with.